Here's the worksheet that I posted, and it's got a lot going on, and in this first video I just want to focus on these columns and the basic concepts. So I made a new table that just those three columns, but it's the same numbers from our worksheet. So what do we see here? This is Lisa's utility from movies, depending on the number of movies that she sees in a week. So there's a number of points we have to make, or observations that we have to make about what we see here. So first we need to define the time period. And we've done that by saying it's a week. Because seeing 7 movies in a week, the amount of utility or satisfaction that you would get from that is really different than seeing 7 movies in a day. Barely possible. Exhausting. Or in a month or in a year. So we've defined the time period. The next thing we see is that we've put utility at 0 when there's 0 movies. So we kind of, by definition, we set utility at 0 when there's no consumption. Now, these are arbitrary numbers, just like temperature, right? Freezing is 0 in Celsius, and it's 32 degrees in Fahrenheit for the freezing point of water. We could make utility from 0 movies to be 32. We could make it to be negative 500. We can make it any number we want. We're just choosing to make it 0 because that is convenient. So that's how we're going to go forward with it. The next thing that we see is that utility increases with consumption. More movies means higher levels of satisfaction, higher utility levels. Right? She's always going up here. More movies are making her happier and happier. And that's because movies are good things. She likes them. Seeing more is better. Now we want to look at marginal utility, and that is the change in utility from consuming 1 more unit. So her marginal utility at 0 doesn't exist. We haven't changed anything, so it's not defined there. It's not a number, it's not 0, it's just an X or a blank or a dash. We don't have marginal utility there. The first place we have marginal utility is when we change consumption from 0 to 1, her utility rose by 50 units. So why 50? That's Lisa. That's how she feels about her first movie. Somebody else might have a totally different number. And we don't make comparisons between people. These numbers are unique to the person whose utility we're looking at. So we can't compare utility values across people. We only look within people, like now we're looking within Lisa as she consumes more and more movies. 50 to her might be a lot. It's kind of arbitrary. I mean, we could have made that number 5. We could divide all the numbers in this column by 10. We could add numbers, add a constant onto all of them. We can manipulate these. The issue is just how the numbers change, not really where the number is exactly. And again, that's kind of like temperature. A degree in Celsius is a bigger change than a degree in Fahrenheit, but we know that a higher number means warmer, closer to the boiling point of water. So 50 is her marginal utility for the first unit, and then as she goes from 1 to 2, her second movie increases her utility by 38. That's 88 minus 50. Right? And then 33, 29. This is the change in utility. She consumes 1 more. She goes from 4 to 5. Her utility goes up by 25. And then 21. 18, 15, 12, and 9. So what we see here is diminishing marginal utility. which is so common that's usually called a law. As consumption increases beyond a certain point, so it may not be diminishing right off the bat, but at some point it's going to start diminishing. The additional utility that results from additional unit of the good, that's margin utility. Declines. And so, we saw that with 0.3 utility increases with consumption, we see these numbers going up, but they're not going up at the same rate. They're going up slower and slower, right? And that's where now we've calculated margin utility, we can really see we have diminishing margin utility. Each movie's making her happier, but not as happy as the one before made her. So that's a lot of basics about utility and marginal utility, and please ask questions if you have any.